Hi Stampers, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I wanted to show you a little bit of research that I did using the Stampin Blends. So these are a new product from Stampin Up. They come in, I believe it is 12 colors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, 12 colors, and then you also get a bronze, an ivory, and a colored lifter if you buy the bundle. You can also buy them in sets. I'm not sure how the sets go, but they will come with 2 colors each. You could buy them as singles as well. So this is light old olive and dark old olive. Okay, so they are 2 sets, or 2 per group. They may end up adding more, but this is the colors they have right now. So they also have rich razzleberry, and then they have, I believe, soft sky. Maybe this is pool party. Yes, pool party, Bermuda Bay, Night of Navy, which doesn't look quite as navy if you would think of the cardstock color navy. And I'm going to show you 2 different examples. So this one is a little bit closer to navy, and then this is a little ornament that I colored that's a little bit softer, but they're beautiful, absolutely beautiful colors. So I'm going to show you a little bit of experimentation that I did last evening. And just a couple of tips in case you were kind of trying to figure out what you could or couldn't color on. But also as a side note, if you go to my website, Rachthestamper.com, or I should say on Facebook, Rachthestamper.com on Facebook, I do have a post from Stampin' Up. They are giving away a full set of these blends. You have to go to their post on the page. So if you scroll down my page and you'll see Stampin' Blends from Stampin' Up, click on the link. If you like it, leave a comment or share it. They will enter you to win a full set of these, and then they're giving away some other really cool prizes. So make sure you get in on that. I believe it goes through October 31st. So I'm going to move these out of the way, and then I'm going to show you what I worked on last evening. So I was trying to figure out, I have never used alcohol markers before myself. So I was kind of trying to figure out how to use them, what you could and couldn't use them on, and I kind of just stamped a whole bunch of different things and tried them out. So I stamped them onto 3 main mediums, and I used the same. I used Memento ink for all of these. I have previously used the archival Stampin' ink, but it sometimes can tend to smudge off into the color. The Memento, however, did not come off at all. So I would recommend Memento ink, and that is carried in my online store. And then, so I stamped onto Whisper White. This is just regular Whisper White. It's not thick. The color does bleed through a little with the blending on the back. However, most of the time, you're probably not going to color directly onto your card. You might color onto a layer that you'll lay on your card. So I quite honestly did not find it a problem whatsoever. But the color combos, and again, it is limited to the amount of colors they have. I believe I said 12, but they're really, really beautiful. So this is the Night of Navy, and then the Dark and the Light Pumpkin Pie. This is the Old Olive. This is the Pool Party. I just kind of filled in a little bit of space. They really are quite beautiful. I have Rich Razzleberry here, and I believe the yellow is Daffodil Delight. Yes, Daffodil Delight. I didn't want to tell you the wrong thing. So Daffodil Delight, Old Olive again. And then you have, believe that is Pumpkin Pie. Pumpkin Pie, and then I used Pink Pirouette. And the color combinations are really very pretty. This is actually the bronze. That's the bronze, and that's with the Cherry Cobbler. And then we have Old Olive and Cherry Cobbler, Bermuda Bay and Pink Pirouette. This is Bermuda Bay Calypso Coral. And then there is a little bit of... what is that in there? Pumpkin Pie? No, that might be the Light and the Dark. I did those 2 separately. But the colors, super pretty. This is the bronze. So bronze with Pool Party and Night of Navy. So this is Whisper White. It colored beautifully. I didn't have any trouble blending it whatsoever. But I also wanted to figure, could you color onto a window sheet? So this is going to be a little harder to see. Let me put something here so you can see. Could you color on a window sheet? And the answer is maybe. Okay, so I stamped these 2. I stamped them both in the Memento ink. So I stamped the same images. These are from a stamp set that actually coordinates with the Stampin' Blends, and it also has a kit, okay? It's called Color Me Happy. It has a lot of really easy to color in images. They're very fun, really simple to use. This comes in clear and wood mount. And basically what I did is I stamped the 2 lanterns in Memento onto a window sheet. Okay, this side here I colored from the back. So what I did is I waited for the ink to dry. It does take a little bit to dry, so in case you want to do this, you want to let it dry. And then I flipped it over and I colored it in from the back. But then I wanted to try and see what would happen if you colored from the front and it smudges the lines. So if you're going to do this on a window sheet, you're going to want to stamp it in Memento ink. Let it dry. You could probably hit it lightly with the heat tool, but it will probably warp the window sheet a little bit, so you don't want to hold it in one spot. And then you're going to flip it over and color from the reverse side. It did dry very quickly on here. The alcohol markers did. So the Stampin' Blends dried very quickly. There was no problem with that, but I still had a problem with the smudging. And then the ink that was dry here did smudge when the alcohol, when Stampin' Blends came in contact with it. So if you want to use window sheets, you want to color, stamp the image on the front and then color on the back. But I still think it looks really cool. This would be a great thing to use for a card. I'm going to have to fool around with this, figure out how I want to use it. And then the other one that I wanted to fool with was Vellum. Okay, so this is stamped on Stampin' Up's Vellum. And I kind of did the same thing. I did it with stamping onto the front on all of these images, again with the Memento ink. And then what I did is some of them I colored in on the front and some of them I colored in on the back. So as you can see, the colors on the back are much darker on here. And then when you flip it over, it is much more muted. So you absolutely can do this from both directions, but I think if you want, especially if you're going to hold it back a little bit, if you want a more vivid color, you want to color onto the front, because you'll see through this side. It's a little darker here. It's definitely darker here. This is the side that I colored onto. And then when you flip it over, now this side is darker and this side is a little bit lighter. But you were able to get beautiful blending from this. This is on the vellum paper. This was with the Cherry Cobbler Daffodil Delight. And actually I used Pool Party to fill this in instead of Old Olive, just to give a little bit lighter of a color. But again, same thing, no smudging of the black. All the lines turned out absolutely beautifully. So this is definitely a great medium. So I would highly recommend. Vellum will work wonderfully. Whisper White, Very Vanilla, Thick Whisper White, or Thick Very Vanilla would work probably even better if you were thinking of using it as your card, not layering onto something and you're going to color it directly onto your base. Then you might want to go with the thick. But otherwise, this would be beautiful. You could even cut this out with the stitched circle or the stitched square, and then have a little bit of a frame around it. Would be really pretty, and lay it onto a card. But I went ahead and trimmed out a few cards, and I'm going to just do a little variation on a project that I did yesterday on Facebook. And I made this really fun card. This is a Joy Fold card. I found out after the fact, after I researched a little more, because I created the original card for this, which was using the Guy Greeting stamp set quite a few years ago. And this was using the old Designer Series paper stacks that came in the color group. So this was in Pacific Point. But Guy Greetings is still available. And then what you do is you have your little tab here that will hold it closed. This card does stand on its own. Even if you don't have that, it still will stand on its own. But this was just a fun way to keep it closed. So I went ahead and updated that to a Christmas theme. And I did use the Be Merry Designer Series paper, which made it really fun. And then I combined a couple different stamp sets with it. I used the Host set that is actually in the holiday catalog, and that's called Season of Whimsy. I love this stamp set. I've wanted it for the longest time, but I didn't get an order big enough, so I finally went ahead and splurged and got it for myself. You can only get the Hostess set with a qualifying order, or if you host a party with a qualifying order, okay? So if you place an online order yourself, a big enough order, you can absolutely get this as one of your Stampin' Rewards. It's a great set. It's so nostalgic. This reminds me so much of my grandparents. I will never, ever get rid of this. It's so fun, and it was so much fun to color in. The little images, I'm going to put that on there, and I have one. They are so cute. They're so fun to color, and they're so pretty. So this is definitely one of my absolute favorite stamp sets that's in here. And then here's another little one. Plus, the other thing I did was I used these two little sparkles here to decorate the little accent on the card. And it kind of looks like fireworks. So you could use this for 4th of July when it rolls around. And it also looks like snowflakes. So fun. And then I embossed Deck the Halls, because that is in this set as well, You also have a Happy New Year, and then you have something for Valentine's Day. So this is really fun. It's very versatile. You have your little sparkler for Happy New Year's, or again, you could use these for 4th of July. So lots of possibilities. But these little circles in here, this is actually one big stamp. But if for some reason you didn't want to use the P.S. I Love You, you could always probably trim out the center there. Or you could just ink it up and mask the P.S. I Love You and put something else in it altogether. So very versatile stamp set. If you don't have it, you should definitely get it. But anyway, so we made this card yesterday. This was a viewer choice. They decided they wanted a Christmas card. So I thought what we could do is we could kind of switch one up and make another quick card. I also used on this, I don't believe I brought it over. No, this is Merry Mistletoe. So the reindeer and then these little sentiments on the inside. But they coordinate really well with this set. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make a card with a little bit of a non-traditional color, since I colored some of these in differently. So we have a full sheet of 8.5 by 11, and this is Night of Navy. What we're going to do is we're going to trim it in half at 4 1/4. All right, and then we're going to score this at 5 1/2, and we're going to score it at 2 3/4, and all of the measurements for this card are on my blog already there with this picture card if you can't find it. So this is going to be our card base, and then we're going to need one more, and this is going to measure 7 1/2, whoop, wrong one, by 3 3/4. And then you're going to score at 3 3/4. Okay, so if you want to make this easy, you can use designer series paper, would make it super simple. But since I am doing one kind of out of the box, we're going to swap that up a little bit, and we're going to make our own designer series paper. You guys know how much I love doing that. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a couple of pieces here. We're going to trim these down to 4, and we're going to cut a 5 1/4. That'll be for the back. And a 2 1/2, and another 2 1/2. Okay, you could leave this if you needed something for the sentiment. If you wanted to stamp something on that, you could leave that as well. And we just need 2 other pieces. Let me just grab one more piece of cardstock. And oh, that worked out well. And this is going to be, so 3 1/2, you're going to need 2 pieces of 3 1/2 square. Let's see if I can pull that out of here. 3 1/2, and 3 1/2. And again, if you did use designer series paper for this, it would make it go much quicker. You could easily mass produce this for your holiday card if you like, just depending on what you want to do. So these pieces are going to layer onto this here, just like that. So you have those 3, and then you have one for your outside, and you have one for your inside, okay? Just like that. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to bring out that same Seasons of Whimsy, and I'm also going to do Christmas Pines, and I'm going to show you how we're going to make this happen. Let me just put all these whites together so we can kind of keep them cohesive when we stamp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the pines, and I am ashamed to say I love this stamp set, and I just realized that these little palms are actually 2-step stamps. I have had this stamp set for well over a year, and I just realized it. So you can stamp the base and then an accent, and it looks so pretty. I actually created another card that I will try to remember to show you at another date. It's so, so beautiful. So what we're going to do is we're going to stamp the base image first. And I'm going to move these 2 out of the way just because we're going to do those a teeny bit differently. And we're going to keep these together. What you could do if you want to keep these together, you could kind of use a Post-it, or if you have just a piece of micropore tape, you could hook them together that way. That way you make sure that they stay lined up and you don't have to get your fingers quite as dirty. But getting your fingers dirty stamping is like the story of my life. There, that's pretty good. All right, I'm going to just do one more quick piece here. You could also use washi tape if you like. That will work perfectly. Okay, so this is our 3 pieces connected. So what we're going to do is we're going to do Pool Party as our accent color, and we're going to do Soft Sky. Okay, so these will be a little bit different, but it will kind of remind you of like that frozen Christmas feeling. So like the cold outside kind of Christmas. I'm going to put that there. I'm hoping this is the lighter one now that I'm thinking of it. Let's see. Soft Sky still. You can always stamp off if it's a little too dark for you. It's a teeny bit too light. Let's try that one more time. There we go. And we'll do one more down here at the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to close up. That was Soft Sky. And we'll see if I did this in the correct order. Let me just swap this out. And this is the fill-in image. So it's kind of just like the ribbing of it, if that makes sense. And then what you can do, since these are photopolymer, you'll be able to line them up really, really well. Pardon my head if it ends up in here. Oh, that turned out really cool. And it definitely was as dark as I wanted it. I was a little worried. And if you don't line them up, it's no big deal. It's still going to look really pretty anyway. And this color combination, I don't even remember where I thought of it, but I just thought I must have seen something with the pool party and the Soft Sky. But it really is a pretty combo for like a wintry kind of card. All right, so I'm going to put this away. And now what we're going to do, so we can do this two different ways. If you want to take the time, you could stamp these in black ink and you could color them in. Or what we can also do is we can stamp some of them. I'm going to stamp a few of them just in Pool Party, but I'm going to stamp it off first so they're a little bit lighter. And then going to have them even like hanging. If you wanted to do them in black, you could do them hanging and you could color them in, which would be such a fun idea. All right, so that's enough of that one. Let me move this over. I'm going to grab a different ornament. And these we will stamp in, how about we'll do these in Soft Sky, just so we have a little bit of cohesion with our color. One over there. Over here. And again, remember, these might look like it's, wow, they're all on the same, but they're going to be on a different panel, so it's not going to be quite as noticeable. And then what we'll do is we will stamp our sentiment. And we're going to stamp something, but we'll do this in black. That way it stands out. So there are a lot of beautiful sayings in the Christmas Pines. May the simple joys of the season be yours. Sparkle with joy and happiness would be great because you could add a little bit of wink of Stella. Tidings of comfort and joy. How about we will do that one because it's a fairly large sentiment. Sorry, I'm losing my words. And you could, again, if you wanted to, you could do this in Night of Navy. But I'm going to do it in black. And then we'll stamp something else on the outside. Okay, so there we have that. And if for some reason you don't ever fill in or you feel like it didn't fill in quite as much, remember with the photopolymer, you do want to let them sit on there for a second. You can always take your basic black pen and fill in your not so filled in spots a little bit. You could do this too with your blender pen if it makes you feel better. There you go. I'm going to leave it just like that for now. And I'm going to set this aside. And now we have to work on our panels. So these are going to be two different panels, so they really don't need to be connected whatsoever. So instead of doing the same thing, what we will use for this is we're going to use these little sparkles here. And we're going to stick with the same color. I think I'm going to go with the Soft Sky. And just keep it with the Soft Sky. That way it's lighter, so it doesn't really overpower the background of these. So we're going to get our Soft Sky ink out. And just randomly stamp. And we'll put this kind of a little bit on the edge there. I'm going to go back and do the same for this one. Okay, so now what we can do, we can kind of make this like a dual part thing. If you wanted to, another great idea would be you could sponge the edges with the Stampin' Sponges or with the daubers. Either one would look equally pretty. So now I have a few of these, if I can remember where I put them over here that I popped out. All this stuff out of the way. Here they are. I was going to say I lost them. Okay. So we may still add something to the front because I think this is going to need some sort of sentiment on the front. Tidings of comfort and joy. Let's see. What other set did I bring over here? So this would be something small you could do. Wishes for a beautiful Christmas. We could kind of hang the ornaments up here. Could hang, if you wanted to, you can also pop these up. So, you know, this is something else you can remember. You can always pop these up if you'd like. I'm going to keep a couple of them for the front. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the inside. May the spirit of the season. And then I'm going to put wishes for a beautiful Christmas. Oh, you know what? I just realized we're going to cover that up. That was not very smart, Rachel. Okay, let me go back. We're gonna put this one back, but we're going to put it where we actually will see it. So let me, before I'm getting ahead of myself, let me explain something here really quickly, because I'm getting out of control. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to get our ink out again, basic black. Sorry about that. We're going to get it, and we're going to do tidings of comfort and joy. So that's going to be on the inside. Sorry here, Blondie strikes again. I'm totally not paying attention to the order I want to do this in. So we're going to do tidings of comfort and joy. We're going to give that a second to transfer. All right, so that's going to be our inside card. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this onto the front, but I'm going to hold off a minute because I want to put this together. That way, in case you change your mind and you're like, I don't want to do my card that way, you can have a variance. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how we're going to lay this out, and then you decide which way you want to go from there. So this is going to be the front of our card, okay? This is going to go onto the inside of our card. If you want to do it the opposite way, you could put this to be the lead, the front of your card here. And then you could put one of these little ornaments right up there, pop it up on something. Okay, so remember, you do have choices because it's your card. You can make it however you like. So I'm going to put some fast fuse on here. And if I'm being totally honest with you, this is what happens when I make a card. I had no plans to make a card, but I thought I haven't made a YouTube video in a while. And I showed my YouTubers some love, so I wanted to make this and put this on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put these on here as well. So you're going to just peel these away from this tape. This tape is very delicate, won't stick to your cards and ruin them. Grab that and pull this off as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere these. Okay, and I'm going to put this on here. Put this on here. You have your two layers. Again, these are completely different, or separate, so they're not all jammed together, but they all kind of go together in a way where they all have the same imaging, and they're all together but separated. So you have like those cluster, if you have those cluster of pictures hanging in your house, if that makes sense, that are all the same picture, but they're spaced out a bit. Let me just go over this with my bone folder. Okay, so you could stop your card here. You could put some ornaments on it, and it could just be a basic Z fold. So where I went wrong is that I forgot I was going to cover this here. Okay, so that's going to cover those in the back. So that's why I put that on the inside, and then this is going to be like that. Okay, but also what I wanted to do is I wanted to have one of these ornaments be my stopper. So I'm going to have this one here be my stopper. And then these two I'm going to hang somewhere on the card. I just have to figure out where. Okay. So what I think I'm going to do with one of them. Actually, I think I'm going to put both of these on the front with that little tiny sentiment that I said, because I think it'll look really pretty. So this one was Wishes for a Beautiful Christmas. And I'm going to put this, if I'm going to hang my two ornaments, I'm going to do one here and one here. And I'm going to put this down here at the bottom. Okay, so this again, I'm going to do this in archival black. And normally I would tell you don't do this until after, don't adhere this until afterwards. That way if you put it in a spot you don't like it, you can flip it over. But I didn't listen to my own advice, so let's hope I stamp it well. Oh, miracle. Okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put one of these down and one up. But which one? I'm going to do both of them up. What the heck? And then we're going to keep these dimensionals out because we're going to use that to hold our card closed. Okay, so this one, since I accidentally trimmed the little nip off of this, we'll put this one as our back. This one still has the nip on it, so I'll keep this as our front. So I'm kind of just going to put them together and lay them on there. Okay, just like that. Now I am going to also do a couple things at the same time, but I'm not going to put them yet. So I have some fast fuse, and this is going to go on the inside layer. So I have some fast fuse on that, and I'm going to put a dimensional over here. You want to keep it to the one side because you want to have a lip for this part to slide underneath of. Okay, so I'm going to peel this off. And when you do this, just remember, when you're assembling a card that's like this with multi-layers, just don't push it down and you'll still have room to move it around, okay? So I want to make sure I kind of cover up my goofed sentiment there, all right? But I want also for this to cover and be slightly even. And I'm going to have my other ornament holding it closed. So how about that? Okay, so this is here. You can always add another dimensional here because you do have enough room. And then just give this a nice press. I think I'm going to put sneak one more little dimensional underneath of this. I'm going to just flip this. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to pull this off. So you probably technically could fit two right. You're going to put them right next to each other. And then that way you'll still have enough of a lip that this will hold it closed. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to just give this a final press. That way it's nice and flat. It'll go nice and flat in your envelope. You can always put in another little piece of cardstock over top of it if you wanted to. But how do you like that? So you have your little ornament that's going to hold it closed when it's in the envelope. It will keep it closed. If it's not closed enough for you, you can always still slide it over a little bit. And then your little ornaments on the front. That's such a beautiful card. This was really easy. And on the front here, it's kind of like understatement because when you open up the inside, you can always trim out a few more of these because I do have plenty of these that I stamped. What I did is, again, last night I just stamped a whole sheet of them and I colored them in as I went along. So we could trim some of these other ones out. We could pop this up here. You know, this one just happens to end up right here. So you could have your leaves so it looks like it's hanging, but you could take another little one right here. Let's see which one is this one looks like. Matches pretty well. I just want to show you what I mean. That way you get my drift. And these really were not too difficult to fussy cut, honestly. You can decide if it's really a pain in the butt, you could cut off that little ornament hanger if you wanted to, but it really wasn't too bad. The ones with the loops were probably a little bit more difficult. But this would be great if it had a set of framelits with it. Then this would be my official favorite stamp set ever. Which is funny because a lot of times the Hostess sets don't really get as much love, but they really are a lot of fun. All right, I'm going to put two on here, just since it's such a wide image. And pop that right up on here. And then it just looks like it's hanging just right there on your little branch. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was so much fun to make. I really love the color. So this is Night of Navy, Pool Party, and Soft Sky. And then I used the Stampin' Blends to color all these in and just give them a little fussy cut. You can always, if you remember, it does have a little thread. So if you really wanted to get fancy, you could add your little string to hang your ornaments from. But super easy, understated. If you want to make it even easier, you could swap it out with some Designer Series paper. I hope you guys will give this card a try. Thank you so very much, as always, for subscribing and following along with me on this journey. You can follow me. If you hit subscribe, it will alert you when I go live or when I post a new video. And I would love for you to join me on all my other mediums. I am on Facebook at Rachthestamper, as well as YouTube, Pinterest, and Instagram. And you can follow me along with my blog, Rachthestamper.com. Thanks for shopping. Geez, thanks for hanging today. And I forgot to say, if you want to get any of these supplies and more in my online store, 24/7, Rachthestamper, that's StampinUp.net. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me today. I hope you all have a great day and be nice to each other. Bye.